Hello and welcome to Material Musings. So have we got a lot of things to look at today. So first off, we're going to look at this woven piece and see how far we've got. We've got the fabric bags I've started to put together, and I'll show you those. And then we've got some of the tea dye projects and the clay dye resist dye pieces that we did. So let's get started. Okay, so this was the framed piece on the wooden loom that I'd made, and I've since taken it off. Tied off the ends and I'm debating what to do with it. That's the bottom and this is the top. I'm thinking of having either having a fringe that will come down here, or having it this way and having a fringe on both ends, because this piece, it might get placed on another piece of fabric. I'm not sure. Or I'm thinking, I shared that I was thinking maybe some beading. I've looked through some of my beads, but I've not. This is the back. I was thinking it looks a bit busy there, so this is the front. So yeah, I was looking at some beading and I'm thinking maybe I don't even need beading. I just need to decide how I want the top and the bottom to be. But yeah, I spent time twisting, and what I was thinking of doing was bringing these bits into it so you wouldn't necessarily see them. But I wasn't feeling sort of like, oh yeah, I'm going to do this, this and this. So I thought, well, maybe you just need to park it for a minute and then get on with some of the other pieces. You've actually brought this quite far, because when we first started it, or when I first started it, I'd only done up to here. And then I continued over the weeks. So I'm glad it's finished. It's now just, okay, so how are you going to just round it off and just make it all nice and neat? So I'm just going to dwell on that. I just didn't feel like doing a woven project, so it was just like, maybe you just leave it. So that's that one. So I'm excited to show you the results for the wax resist pieces that I did. So I was busy and did quite a few of the pieces. I'll show you the largest one was this one. I've got a favourite, but this one came out lighter than I thought. You can see the orange from the dye. It's actually looking better on camera than it does on here, very deeper. I might need to just iron it and then it would, yeah. So we've got the nice patterns, and that pattern just continues, and the lines, it's got beautiful smell. And you can see some of where the clay stayed, and then we've got a clearer bit where it lifted from the fabric, but that's fine because this would be cut up and used in smaller pieces. Okay, so I did some tea ones and I used a screen print paint and covered these. So again, I like the way they came out. I also, so was it tea dye? No, it was the clay. I used the clay on these ones. Again, that's why they're very light. I was very impatient and washed it out quicker than I had planned, but I actually really like some of these designs. Again, they're quite bold designs and they would look really nice in some creative projects. Again, that's exceptionally light. There is some take up with the dye. Let me see if I put something underneath it. You see it a bit better. You can see it quite faintly. So this one again was faint, and this was a tea dyed one. You can actually see the colour in it. It's very kind of delicate, so that's a nice effect as well, even though I was wasn't planning for it to happen. Okay, these are some nice ones, aren't they? Let me see which is that's the back and that's the front. So this one was tea dyed and I left it in for quite a while, so we've got a nice effect. This was washed quicker than the one that is my favourite, but I actually like this now that it's I've unfolded it, seeing it in this way. I actually quite like this one. So it's really nice to be able to create your own fabric. This one was tea dyed. It was a face. This is a tea dyed one. So I just used some small fabric, so you know it's easier to work with and you get immediate results in terms of, you know, if you're just working on small batches, then you can test things out. Okay, let me show you this one. This is my absolute favorite because I like the coloration. So this is tea dyed, and this is probably darker than the rest because it this was the first one to go into the tea solution, and I think it was crumpled slightly, so we've got the nice effect of the wax resist. These were double. I did these double, so when they came out like this, quite pale, but I really liked this one. This was the first one, and then when you double dip it you get a darker effect because I'd already dried it and then dipped it again. And then I made a larger piece of fabric which I've since cut up, and so this was tea dyed. There was a wax resist, it is wax resist, but it's very faint, and then I've cut them up into ribbons. So these are in the fabric bags, which we can look at in a minute. But yeah, as I say, it's nice to be able to do some of the fabrics and see what kind of effects you're gonna get, and just, you know, play around. But if you're not able to do this yourself at home, as I say, I'm making up some fabric bags with a variety of different fabrics in. The ribbons definitely in there, in the fabric bags, and these are the avocado dyes. Now, in my Arts and Wellness Cafe, I shared some other types of wax resist well, it's not what it's resist that I've some of them are wax resist and some of them are avocado resist that you didn't get to see in the last one. So let's have a look at those. Right, so here's a selection that I did a while back, and I've just loved the way they turned out, and so I haven't really used any of them in projects, so let's look at a few of them, shall we? Okay, so these were fabric dyed and this wax resist, and we've got a really nice pattern on them, so I really liked the way these turned out. And it's a bit lighter. Here's some others that I did. So these ones are conventional dye, but I use the rubber band to hold them and then dipped it in the dye. And I'm going to try this technique with the tea as well. Right, I have a plant called Scaevola, and it's given us a greeny kind of browny dye with the wax resist as well. So there's so many natural dyes that you can get from plants. So let's look at my favourites. So these are clay. So I did another one similar, and again it is, can you see that? This is clay and conventional dye. I really love this one. So I'll be working with this one, and I'd love to recreate this as well. So these areas are where the wax was, and then I dipped it in the clay. Well, I didn't dip it in the clay, I pasted the clay on, and then I dipped it in a blue dye once it had dried, and that's what we got. Love it. I also used terracotta, the air dried clay, and this is what I got from that one. I love this one. I mean, I don't even want to cut it up, it's just gonna go like this. I'll probably just do a back in and maybe some stitches, or maybe just leave it. I just love this like this, but I'd love to make some more. This is a conventional dye now, and wax resist. Which I'll probably cut up. Got some lovely patterning on it. Or maybe I make a big wall hanging. We'll see. And here are some other lovely pieces that I love. But again, this is, I don't have indigo plant, so I used a blue dye and created these pieces. This one is a lady. You can see it better in real life. And there's this one. This is a face as well. It's just a thin face. But yeah, so those are the pieces that I wanted to show you. You've seen the ones that I dyed from the previous week, and yeah, I had forgotten to show you these ones, but I wanted to let you have a look. See, that's a face. You can see it now, see it better. And then that's her neck and body. You might have actually seen it, but perhaps I'd had it upside down, but yeah, so that's that. So should we have a look at the fabric bags that I'm putting together? Okay, so here are the contents of one of the fabric bags. It comes in a 5x7 bag, and there is lots in there. So one of the first things you do get is a stitched piece. Let me move these out of the way. There's a stitched piece, either with beading. It's going to be a random selection, or you know, like words as well. This one's got a lot more beading and some crystals there, and this one has got beading. So in every pack there will be either one of these or a different one that I've done. There is a selection of hand painted and hand dyed fabric. So we have avocado dyed fabric, we've got conventional dye, that's tie and dye. So these are the selections roughly in each bag, and the contents will vary. We've got some stamped fabric. This is painted and stamped. We've got some glittered, stenciled. We've got some painted and doodled, and we've got some wax resist here, and some painted. So that's that. We've got some tea dyed, like a tea dyed ribbon here. It's quite long. And we've got some of the painted fabric beads, so you get a selection of beads. And then we have a selection of fabric, so it's pre-printed fabric, so I'll show you the selection. So you get, you know, like denim, and then you can, like slow stitched in that, you can use it as a background for putting pieces together. And then you get a random selection of fabrics that you can cut up and play with and use in some stitched projects. Again, it's just a random selection. Each bag will have some different variations of fabric. So we've just got some small bits. It's just really to give you a flavour of, you know, different fabrics that you could potentially use, and encourage you to kind of look and see what you may have in your own stash. And then this is from a sari, and it's the beaded selection, so you get a nice selection of beads on here. So these are all the fabrics that you get, and they will be listed on my course platform. And as I say, it might come with this one, stitch project, or this one. Again, it's going to be randomly selected. So yeah, these are all the selections in the bag, and I hope that you have fun with it and share what you do with your kit should you purchase one, and I hope that you enjoy it. I will be labelling what each one of the hand painted and hand dyed wax resist, whether it's avocado dyed or whatever, so you'll know. Yeah, so that's the kit. So I'm going to be leaving it there for now. yeah, I wanted you to see what I had done with the fabric and how it turned out, and yeah, how lovely they can be. Yeah, so I might just add in some of this. We'll try this one, so there may be a piece of this one in there. But yeah, so again, I shall have it all up on my course platform if you're interested. And yeah, I look forward to seeing you again and maybe doing some projects with some of the newly dyed fabric. So you take care, and I look forward to connecting with you soon.